You know, sometimes I sit here by the window, watching the rain slide down the glass, and I think about how different love used to be. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't loud. It wasn't made of promises written in text messages. It was made of patience, of laughter that echoed through small kitchens, of letters tucked under pillows, and hands that never let go, even when times were hard. I was 19 when I met him. His name was Daniel. He wasn't the loudest man in the room, but when he smiled, the whole world seemed to soften around him. It was 1960, summer in a small American town. Girls wore pastel dresses, men rolled their sleeves and smelled of fresh tobacco and soap. Music came from old radios, Frank Sinatra, Elvis, and that soft hum of romance that wrapped around everything. I met him at a local dance, nothing fancy, just a community hall lit by yellow bulbs. I remember my dress was light blue, my shoes a little too tight, and my heart, nervous as a hummingbird. He asked me to dance. And I said yes, though I could hardly look him in the eyes. That night, we danced 3 songs in a row. And when he walked me home, he didn't try to impress me, he just asked, "Do you like the stars?" That's how it began, not with fireworks, not with fancy words, but with stars and silence. We married 2 years later. No destination wedding, no grand ceremony. Just a small church, 50 guests, a cake baked by my mother, and rings we could barely afford. I wore my sister's borrowed veil, and he wore his father's suit. When we said our vows, we truly meant forever. Our first home was tiny, a 1-bedroom apartment above a bakery. Every morning, the smell of bread woke us up before sunrise. We didn't have much. A second-hand couch, a broken radio, 2 chipped cups. But we had each other. And in those days, that was enough. He worked long hours at the factory, I took a job at the library. Some nights, we didn't have dinner until 10. But no matter how tired we were, we'd always sit together at that little table, share a plate, and talk about everything, our dreams, our fears, our silly neighbors. Sometimes we argued, oh yes, we did. But even our fights ended with laughter or quiet apologies. We didn't go to bed angry. We believed in fixing things, not replacing them. In 1965, our first child was born, a little girl we named Anna. The world felt brighter, but our days got harder. Bills piled up, nights were long, sleep was rare. Yet every morning, Daniel kissed my forehead before leaving for work. He'd whisper, "We'll be okay, my love." And somehow, I always believed him. Those years were full of small joys. Picnics in the park, laundry drying in the sun, slow dances in the kitchen after dinner. We didn't have vacations or fancy gifts. Our romance was made of small moments, holding hands while watching TV, reading together before bed, or listening to the rain. And that's what love was then. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. Life tested us. In 1973, Daniel lost his job when the factory closed. For months, we lived off savings and prayers. There were nights I caught him staring at the ceiling, worried about the future. But he never let me feel afraid. He always said, as long as we have each other, we'll never be poor. He found work again, driving trucks across state lines. I missed him terribly, especially at night when the house felt too big and quiet. But I learned patience. Back then, you waited. You trusted. There were no constant calls, no instant messages. Just a letter in the mailbox every Friday. I'd hold those envelopes like treasures, reading them over and over until the ink began to fade. That's how love survived, not by being easy, but by being worth it. The years passed quickly. Anna grew up, we had another child, a boy, Michael. Our little apartment turned into a house, our worries turned into memories. We grew older, softer, more comfortable in silence. We didn't need to talk all the time. Sometimes, just sitting together on the porch, listening to the crickets, was enough. He loved his morning coffee. I loved watching him read the newspaper with his glasses slipping down his nose. Sometimes, he'd look up, catch me staring, and smile that same smile from 1960. And in that moment, I'd fall in love all over again. Then came the harder years. His health began to fade, slowly at first. He'd forget small things, where he left his keys, what day it was. Then one morning, he couldn't remember my name. That day broke something inside me. But I didn't give up on him. Love doesn't walk away when things get hard, it holds on tighter. I cared for him every day, brushed his hair, helped him eat, sang him the songs we once danced to. Even when his eyes looked distant, I'd whisper, "It's me, Daniel. It's your girl." And sometimes, just sometimes, he'd smile. He passed away on a cold morning in February, 1998. The world felt quieter that day. Even the birds outside seemed to mourn. I still remember holding his hand, the same hand that held mine for nearly 40 years, and I whispered, "You kept your promise. You gave me forever." It's been over 2 decades now. Our children have children of their own. This house is quieter, but it's filled with echoes, echoes of laughter, of music, of him. People often ask me, how did marriages last so long back then? And I tell them, because we didn't quit when it got difficult. We didn't compare our lives to others. We didn't need perfection. We just needed each other. We understood that love isn't always butterflies. Sometimes it's patience, forgiveness, and holding on when you feel like letting go. We fixed what was broken. We talked things through. We gave without counting. And most of all, we believed in forever, not as a word, but as a promise. Sometimes I wonder what young people today would think of our love story. Maybe they'd call it boring, too simple, too slow, but to me, it was everything. Because in a world that moved so fast, we found something that stood still. Love, real love, the kind that grows old, not tired. The kind that survives distance, illness, and time itself. So when I look at the rain today, I don't feel lonely. I feel grateful. Because once upon a time, in a world that has long since changed, I was loved the way every woman dreams of being loved. And that, my dear, is enough to make a life worth remembering.